Assalamu alaikum dear students. Today we will study about electron transport chain. Student, the electron transport chain is a collection of membrane embedded proteins and organic molecules. Most of them organized into four complexes. Uh, Student, which are labeled as 1 to 4. You can see from the figure. In eukaryotes, many copies of these molecules are found in the inner mitochondrial membrane, while in prokaryotes, the electron transport chain components are found in the plasma membrane. As a student, all the four complexes which are present on that of the mitochondrial membrane are cristae. They are: number one is NADH dehydrogenase, which is having two prosthetic group. One is FMN and the other one is iron sulfur prosthetic group. FMN stands for flavin mononucleotide. Second complex, that is called as FADH dehydrogenase. Student, it is also called as succinate dehydrogenase because the enzyme which is involved in the formation of FADH2 during Krebs cycle from succinate to fumarate. When it's succinated, gets changed into fumarate. At that time, FAD gets changed, or it is reduced into FADH2 by the same enzyme which is called as what, succinate dehydrogenase. And here FADH2 that gets changed are oxidized into FAD by the same enzyme called as what, succinate dehydrogenase. That's why this complex is also called as what, succinate dehydrogenase. Then complex 3, that is called as what, cytochrome reductase complex, which consists of cytochrome B, iron sulfur component, and cytochrome C1. After this complex 4 that is present, students, cytochrome oxidase, it is cytochrome oxidase complex, which consists of cytochrome A and A3. Other than these four complexes, there are two mobile carriers of electron present in electron transport chain. One is called as coenzyme Q, also called as what, ubiquinone, and the other one is what, cytochrome C. Students, mobile carriers of electron, they can carry electrons from the one complex to the next complex, because as they are moving, so we call them what, mobile carriers of the electrons. Now student, the all NADH and FADH2 which are produced during the earlier stages of cellular respiration, like glycolysis, oxidation of pyruvate, and citric acid cycle, they contribute their electrons to this chain, which is called as what, electron transport chain, also called as what, electron transport system. First of all, you can see that NADH that will oxidized into NAD, and its hydrogen ions, they will get separate. Electrons from the hydrogen ions, they will move to the complex 1, and then they will move to the next component of the electron transport chain, which is called as what, coenzyme Q. And then the second um, component of the citric acid cycle or Krebs cycle, which contributes its electrons to the electron transport chain, that is FADH2. It will provide its electron to the complex 2, which is called as FADH dehydrogenase, and from this complex or complex 2, electrons, they will be transported to coenzyme Q or ubiquinone. So electrons from both complex 1 and complex 2 are FADH dehydrogenase. They will be passed to what, to that of the coenzyme Q, and then coenzyme Q, which is a mobile carrier, that will take these electrons to complex 3, and then from complex 3, both the electrons, they will move to cytochrome C, and from the cytochrome C, they will move to the cytochrome oxidase complex, and finally these two electrons, they will be given to the oxygen, and oxygen is the final acceptor of these electron. Oxygen, it will combine with that of the hydrogen to make what? Water. Now student, at different stages, complex 1, complex 3 and complex 4, they also function as what? As proton pumps. Energy which is released during the downhill movement of the electrons from complex 1 to coenzyme Q, that energy, that is trapped for the movement of what? Hydrogen ions from the mitochondrial matrix to that of the intermembrane space. Now you can see that this is the outer membrane of mitochondria, this is the inner membrane or cristae, and this is a space between two membranes which is called as what? Intermembrane space, and this whole is called as what? Mitochondrial matrix. So protons or hydrogen ions, they will be transported by using that energy or by trapping that energy which is released by the downhill movement of electrons. Otherwise this energy, that can be wasted in the form of heat. So not only complex 1, it transports, it uses that energy to transport what? Protons, but complex 3 and complex 4, they also use energy which is released by the downhill movement of the electrons, and they also transport what? Hydrogen ions from the mitochondrial matrix to that of the intermembrane space. Now you can see that at 3 stages, hydrogen energy that is released by the downhill movement of electron from complex 1, 3 and 4, and while FADH2, it enters into that of the electron transport chain from complex 2, and NADH, it enters into the electron transport chain, or it contributes its electron from complex 1. So you can say in by NADH at 3 steps, energy 1 ATP of energy that is released. That's why we say NADH, it produces 3 ATPs of what? Energy, while FADH2, as during its electron movement, complex 1, that is not involved. That's why we say it has potential to produce just 2 ATPs like energy that is released from complex 3 and complex 4, and it is not released from complex 1 in the case of what? FADH2. So a potential gradient that gets developed between the in that of the intermembrane space, and this then hydrogen ions, they move down the down their concentration gradient, means from higher concentration to lower concentration. But as you know that this mitochondrial membrane, that is impermeable for the movement of hydrogen ions, because main core of the membrane, that consists of what? Lipid bilayer or fatty acids chain, they are present over there, so it doesn't allow movement of hydrogen ion through the lipid bilayer or through this membrane. So they adopt a particular pathway to move back into that of the mitochondrial matrix, and that is what? That path is called as what? Oxysome or ATP synthetases. These are stark particles present in the inner membrane of the mitochondria. They allow movement of hydrogen or ions or protons back into that of the mitochondrial matrix. When these hydrogen ions, they will move back into that of the mitochondrial matrix, they will stimulate an enzyme present in that of the oxysomes or stark particles, which is called as what? ATP synthetase. This enzyme, that will use the potential energy of the hydrogen ions which was being trapped while the downhill movement of the electron, to make a bond between ADP and inorganic phosphate. As a result, ATP that is formed. As during this process of ATP formation, oxygen that is involved, so it is called as what? Oxidative phosphorylation. And as for the movement of protons, membranes, they are used, so this whole mechanism is called as what? Chemiosmosis. And you can see that as a result of NADH, conversion of NADH into what? NAD, 3 ATPs they are produced, while just because of FADH2 2 ATPs they are produced. So this is all about what electron transport chain. And but not only this mechanism that is involved during cellular respiration for ATP production, same mechanism that is also involved during the photophosphorylation as well. Over there also membranes they are used, and process is called as what, our mechanism is called as what, chemiosmosis. So this is all about what electron transport chain, which is the final step of what cellular respiration. Thank you, students.